Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We've got live tournament action coming at you. It is going to be on GSL's Calm Before the Storm. We've got dKiller now taking on uGpSwip. Going to be a nice game. We do have Windy on the line joining me as my co-caster for the evening. Windy, thanks for showing up, man.
Thank you for having me, my friend. So happy to be here. Going to be a good game. dKiller taking the time to play this tournament against uGpSwip, two very, very high-level players.
Yeah.
And of course, why don't you introduce them? Show them, tell them what they're about.
Well, we've got Killer, notably, as you can see by his little icon here surrounding his hatchery, did win the 2011 BlizzCon. So phenomenal player there. He does play a lot of tournaments and just does a great job. Part of Team Dignitas. They've got some other phenomenal individuals on that team as well, but Killer, actually one of their premier players, I'd say, in many respects. And looks like he is going to be spawning as our yellow Zerg down here in the bottom left, in the bottom right, on this extremely large map. Sea calms before the storm. We've got uGpSwip. And he's going to be our red Terran player. Team UGP, I'll tell you, these guys are definitely making waves. Lucky Strike, their team leader, always out looking for things for these guys to be a part of. So very, very active group of individuals, and Swip showing so much strength. Oh man, I'm pumped for this TvZ. Now it's only a best of 3, Windy, so as we move forward here, what do you expect to see, especially out of game 1, right here where we're at?
Given the fact that uGpSwip, I don't know much about him, and I don't know much about UGP entirely. Are they a Korean-based team?
Yeah.
Oh, he answered my question right there. That was a 12-13 racks.
Yeah.
So he will be going for some 2 racks pressure. Always a good decision on big maps like this if you can get an easy scout on your opponent. And given the way that Terran plays out, the SCV will be able to scout in 2 directions, or excuse me, he'll send out both these SCVs to scout. That way he can have a bunker at the ready. And pretty much if he decides that, oh, he's in cross position, he can just go ahead and back up. 2 racks isn't that much of a investment, and you can kind of see he's sending this first SCV, I'm going to assume to the top right, and then he'll send the second one probably to the bottom left, and then by process of elimination, obviously he can just converge on the diagonal spawn. So he can, it's a good play on big maps. You can do a lot of harm because Zergs tend to feel very, very comfortable on large maps. Killer actually taking a very, very greedy hatchery. You can see his pool's only about 90% done. It should be actually done just slightly before that hatch pops, depending on how you do it. So here goes uGpSwip sending over his SCV Marine. It looks like he's actually going to find Killer with this Marine and SCV first. So really lucky pick there for him.
Yeah,
he's going to be very surprised.
He had to take a choice where to send that Marine, and so he did choose to send it with the SCV. So he said, if I get lucky, I will be able to make this happen. Yeah. And there it goes. Oh, blocked by Killer so quickly. But he does have that Marine there at the ready, and so I expect to see this actually back out. I think that Killer's probably got plenty of defenses, considering that Spinecrawler went down so very quickly.
As well as 10 Lings are on the way, too, so Killer's just going to be just fine. Does not matter. He can actually tank damage on the Spinecrawler, possibly even cancel it. Swip, he's not even following up with gas. I'm going to assume he's going to take an in-base expansion. Pretty easy on this map, considering the fact that he's walled off first run. Unless Zerg decides to go for some kind of Baneling bust, he's pretty safe to take that backdoor expansion. And Killer, of course, you can see he put his expansion out here, rather in the back, just because it's a little bit easier to take that backdoor ones versus Zerg. Take the easy third, even make that like a pseudo macro hatch, given the fact it's so close to your main. Right. And you can go for like 2 base meter play off of like these 3 bases and use that third as a macro hatch, or even saturate it a little bit. So. Yeah.
Well,
definitely
Zerg
better map.
This is the better defensive position for those, for your first expansion. But I mean, these Bling is going to come in. They're just poking in here, wants to see what's going on. But we have a third going down for Swip. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit preemptive of Swip. I definitely think he should have built that third command center in base and kept, because now Killer's going to be like, you're taking in your natural here? I don't think so. He's going to be pretty well aware. I mean, Killer's a very, very good player.
Yeah, well, and he's a reactive player. He got a good scout out here. He could go for a Roach timing attack, which is going to be extremely effective against this double expansion play that we see from Swip. Either that or go for very fast mutas. One or the other is going to be, I think, a nice play from Killer. What do you think he's going to do here? Do you think he is going to go for a timing push, or do you think he's just going to start macroing up here? But he's only on the 2 bases.
He has 3 gas, so wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of bust. I mean, three gas before taking a layer is a lot to invest in. Has not started zergling speed, although he just have the money for it. He's getting a lot more drones. I'm gonna say he's probably gonna get up to 40 to 45 drones, and then either make a decision to a read on the Terran player and decide, do I go for that bust or do I just try to play a macro game? Because now that SWIP has gone for these fast expansions, that means he has a lot more to defend, and he has to invest a lot more in static defense.
Right.
So
and you can see
if
how
Killer
far behind he is in the supply count right now too.
Yeah, so if Killer, there's a Baneling nest as well as 18 lanes on the way, speed about 30% done. Killer might go for a Baneling bust to at least force this command center to lift off, and then maybe transition to more standard play. But if I were Killer, I would have just gone 2 base macro hatch mutas and just harass SWIP to death at this natural, because he'll be able to dart into this backdoor natural, then come around and then dart into the outside natural, and then dart around there and basically swing and just kind of like do leapfrogs from base to base with the mutas because they are so quick. He probably doesn't want to go along the inside path because that will kind of make it a little bit too easy for him to get cornered. But there's plenty of dead space behind both naturals and even a little bit behind the main. So, but here comes a lot of banelings. Wow.
Yeah,
that is 16 banelings almost.
I mean, SWIP is behind on the supply count. He's behind on his defensive posture here, and this baneling bust with these look how many banelings. I mean, just the banelings alone is probably going to be able to do it. And these banelings, there's nothing to stop them moving through here. So I expect to see this go pretty well. Look at that, right up into the main.
The bus takes out the bunker, taking a bunch of SCVs, gonna get off on the mules as well. Good selective explosions there, taking out the Marines, and then GG from SWIP.
Whoa.
And
yeah, Killer with a very, very smart timing attack there. He didn't even go for roaches. He just said, let's go Baneling Ling. He's getting too aggressive here. Made it happen with a beautiful attack. Game number 1 going very quickly here to Killer. So that's going to take us into game number 2. It will be SWIP's map choice. We'll catch you guys here in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action continuing here. It is game number 2 between SWIP and Killer. SWIP hailing from Team uGP, phenomenal team there, and a phenomenal player here. But this is a best of 3 here, and he's taken on Dignitas Killer, who is extremely strong Zerg player. These guys are spawning in cross positions on Shattered Temple. Wendy on the line with me, joining me. We're having a good old-fashioned time here. Wendy, tell me, what do you think about game number 1? Just kind of sum that up for us, and tell me who your pick is for game number 2.
Well, considering that SWIP decided to go to aggression and back down after going 2 racks into a double expand with a in-base expansion and kind of just showing that third and allowing Killer to deduce that you went for a quick third on this map and showed it, either you're really dumb or really, really gutsy and you know what you're doing. But Killer decided to make a read on it and went for a Baneling bust, took out a bunker, a bunch of Marines and supply depots, and just kind of barged into SWIP's base and just took him out. And I have to say, Killer made the right read there. He just macroed up for a little bit longer and said, well, I have to do something about this right now, or he's going to come back with a lot of macro and be really, really tough to beat. Terran, who has a strong macro game, can be very, very difficult to Zerg to beat because Terran units, if microed well, are so incredibly resilient and so cost-effective. So we'll have to see. But looking at this game, I want to say SWIP is going to play a little bit more standard. Actually going for the 2 racks again. Wow. Yep. And Killer is going to scout this. He decided to go for a drone scout, which is kind of unusual in the TvZ matchup. You don't see a lot of Zergs doing that, given the fact he did not see the Terran spawn in the close-by air position. And that drone, a little misrally, now clicking up to the ramp, so he will see that double racks and probably will go ahead and get that pool ASAP. Does not want to delay it any longer.
That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, he's kind of judging his opponent here, I think, saying, you know what, SWIP is one of those guys who's definitely capable of putting on some serious early pressure. And so he's gonna. I need to scout him, and he does. He gets a great scout out here. Is going to save himself the trouble of being caught off guard by double racks pressure. And
you can see.
Go ahead.
I would say Killer could have gotten to the base of SWIP, and he made the smart decision. And he was like, I need this drone more than I need the scouting information right now. I know he's going double racks. I know probably what he's going to transition into. His options are limited. So Killer deciding to send that drone back out, keeps it there for vision of that tower, wants to see when those Marines are coming, how many are coming. Are they coming in 2s? Are they coming one at a time? What's
how many
SCVs
doing? Are coming?
Yeah.
Always important to see. But he gets a great scout out. There are going to be 2 SCVs in this forward position. You can see that Killer, once again, has got a lot of drones here at the ready, and he's going to try and prevent this once more. He's doing a great job of it. And if
Yep,
this
and Swip having to back down, that Marine actually getting caught off guard, I would say, just taking a little bit of damage on him. Pool has finished, 8lings are on the way, Hatch is finished as well. I would say Killer held this off before it even happened, and Swip again.
Oh, it's the same thing as what happened in game number 1, it feels like. I mean, it looks like this bunker is going to go ahead and start, but we've got a spine crawler almost 50% complete. Here comes your lings, and this guy is not going to be able to build bunkers any longer.
Yep. And that bunker does get canceled at the last possible second. Although Marines have taken out a couple drones, 6 workers have gone down for Killer, which is not where you want to be considering the amount of money he's invested into lanes. He's not done this cost effectively. Slip taking advantage of Killer's, I would say, just sloppiness in this.
No, this is very purposeful what he's doing here.
Losing 6 drones, purposeful?
Killer is buying time so that his creep spread will finish. That way he cannot put a bunker down in the correct position. He's keeping to this battle in the center of the map, trying to not lose it. He may have lost a couple extra of those drones, and that's kind of a big loss. But at this point, it was kind of losses that he couldn't really avoid. He's going to try and take out these Marines, which I actually kind of disagree with. He's going to lose a lot here, but taking down the Marines is also a good play because Swip is going to be trying to transition here, and during this
is going to be game, my friend. Killer has 9 drones.
Yeah, he's way behind.
This is not going to be good. Although that spine crawler is repositioning itself, it will be very resilient to that. Killer's drone's getting a little bit rallied. Another one getting picked off by Swip's Marines. And Swip doing a phenomenal job with his command center, about 50% done in his side of his main. And here comes the pressure. He just wants to keep on putting it on. He knows he is Killer. He's done a lot of damage to Killer. He's forced a lot of lings and killed off a lot of lings in exchange. Yep. All the drones have gone down. Queen actually getting a little bit aggressive, trying to maybe bait those Marines into that spine crawler. Wants to do as much as he can. But Killer is going to be hard pressed to come out of this game, I think. He doesn't have
that skirting the spine crawler up to the high ground.
Oh wow! And Killer's in a lot of trouble. This is just kind of, I would say, sloppy play. He did not need to lose so many drones.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he did lose a couple too many. He did keep that battle in the center, but I think engaging with those lings was a bad idea. He lost way too many lings when he should have been droning up and really needed them. But looks like the Marines will get cleaned up for the time being. Units tab going to show that he is back down to 13 drones, and now Swip has a second base about to be up and running. He's at 25 SCVs. And we're going to see this orbital command fly out here in just a moment. There it goes.
Yep, there it goes down. Swip can now easily expand. Doesn't have to worry about any kind of counterattack. He knows speed isn't out. Killer doing the smart thing, going for the gold base. Going to try and take a quick third, get that gold expansion saturated as quick as possible, trying to get himself in the game. Always a good decision if you are down and out, especially after being bunker rushed so heavily. And Swip getting down 2 tech labs as well as 2 reactors, taking the opportunity to know that nothing can really do him much harm now, so he's just going to go ahead and get those buildings. I would not be surprised to see a combat shield and stim timing push here, just full of Marines, forego tanks, forego everything else, just pure micro, because no way is Killer going to have the economy nor the resources to produce a lot of banelings with speed anytime soon, or at least before the time that stim and combat shield hit.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what he wants to be doing. Swip wants to keep Killer behind in this entire match until he can pull the trigger permanently. And so consistently sending out solid attacks, good timing attacks at this point is really going to be helpful. And I think probably after that...
Overlords are going to go down at the gold of Killer, though. This is huge, man. This is a big supply ball coming in. I think Swip might forfeit these Marines, though, Killer being a little preemptive. But now Killer's just sunk so much money into things he hasn't done. He's just playing really sloppy, in my opinion. I'm kind of surprised.
This is not what we saw in the first game where he was just making such great decisions. You know, and he was able to kill off quite a bit. Look at that. He just lost so many Zerglings for almost nothing. Picked up a couple Marine kills there. But he can't afford to lose those Zerglings. He really has to, try and
He's just now taking 2 gas, man. And it's at that 9-minute mark. Swip has Stim on the way. No combat shield yet. Kind of surprised about that. He is actually getting a couple Marauders. Good decision considering the fact a Spine Crawler is out, and Killer, if he feels so inclined, would make more. And Marauders deal so well with Spine Crawlers. Even just 4 of them will make it worthwhile.
Right. Yeah, it's such a smart play. I love Marauders against Zerg anymore. And notice he's got double engineering base going down, so he's going to be working on some serious upgrade. Stim pack is about to be complete. He just picked up 2 more gas at his natural. He's got just 1 each mining there for now, but probably going to see a couple more gas out of him as soon as he gets his starport up and running. He does have his factory here, and I assume we're going to see that starport go down right shortly thereafter. In the meantime, he's moving out. This is going to be a nice looking push. Do you think he's going to be able to make this one permanent for game 2?
I definitely think he will take this game in the end unless he lets Killer get back in some kind of big way and taking that gold. But you can see this Marine still doing a ton of damage, going after Lords, being just a nuisance.
Yeah.
Still no speed for Killer. I wonder if he's forgotten, considering the fact he does have the gas for it. Getting the +1 melee.
Yeah, he's going for melee first, which does seem a little bit strange. Yeah. Usually what you want to do is get your speed out ASAP.
Oh, yeah. But once these medevacs come out, just 2 of them, Swip will be able to take a portion of his units, drop them into the main, and then attack the front. And here goes down 4 spine crawlers from Killer, realizing what is going on, but they will not be able to defend the gold, unfortunately. And Killer is just trying to claw his back way into it. I have to admire the fact he stayed in it for this long, I think losing this to Overlords really just kind of put a nail in the coffin, but here comes Swip. Stim has completed. Combat Shield about 20 seconds away. Concussive Shells about 10 seconds away. +1 is still a good minute out, as well as +1 armor. So we'll have to see what happens here.
These spine crawlers
here comes the engagement. Spine crawlers are not done yet.
Yeah, they're just going to disappear. Look how quickly, just a couple shots, and these guys are gone. And there's your GG. What a nice push from Swip. I think it's kind of the reverse of what we saw in game number 1, but that does tie it up here, Wendy. We're going to be going into game number 3, and we'll check that out here in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is, the ace match between uGpSwip and dKiller. This is in the losers bracket, so one of these players will become the 3rd place winner of the AGL-February. The other will go on to play our first place contestant, our other first place contestant, who is currently VIP. So winning here just means a heck of a lot of work. What would you do, Wendy? Would you say, let's go ahead and sack this game and take your loss?
No, not at all. Not when the difference between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and 4th is just such a big disparity. You want to fight it out. I mean, Killer is still in a good position to win this tournament. I don't see why he wouldn't. He has to play. It'll be VIP. It'll be a ZVP if he goes on to win, or a TVP for the finals. So neither player really wants to come out of it now. It's way too. It's just way too close, and the money's still in there. They can taste it in their mouth almost. I just would not back out of this at all. I'd play as hard as I possibly could. Right. There's still plenty of opportunities to come back and win. The finals is a best of 5.
That's right.
Just don't forget the Killer. If Killer wins, though, he'll have to play another best of 5 because that's the way the finals work. And you have to play the winner with. We don't do extended series here. Right. You'll play the winner best of 5. If you, as the losers, come back and win 3 games to 1 or 3 games to 2, whatever it may be, or 3 games to 0, you have to go ahead and win another 3 games to come back and truly win the tournament, because we have to give the advantage to the winner's bracket player. He has not lost a game or a match in the series, so you have to respect that. Give him, you got
to give him his second
justice.
Chance. You know?
Yeah,
it's a double elimination is the best way to put it. He has to lose 2 matches, so he is currently undefeated. But this is going to be yet again 2 racks pressure coming out of Swip. Now tell me, Wendy, do you agree with this? I mean, this is crazy.
I really don't. I'm surprised he's not going for more standard play. Killer's going to scout this. This was a 12-13 rack, so very, very aggressive. Even a 14-seat orbital command, so getting very, very economical about it, too. I'm surprised he even got that out. I wonder if he's going to all in and even do the supply depot chart. No, I take that back. He has put down a 2nd supply depot. So it looks like it's just going to be bunker pressure. Killer's pool still about halfway done, so it will be some time before he gets that out. STV has made its way over. This Overlord is in a very vulnerable position. Needs to be very, very careful. Needs to get that back into a safe location. Good idea sending that drone onto the STV. Does not want to give it any opportunities to build that bunker. And it looks like the one STV is in the map. Another Marine rallied over. 2 more to follow suit. Yeah. And Swip is just rallying them forward. Wants to put as much pressure as possible. Down. And Killer really should put down a spine crawler in his main. That way he can transfer it over much, much quicker than having to build it from the start. Here goes the bunker. 2 SCVs on it now. He needs to get a target on that SCV. Does get canceled. Great defense from Killer, and Swip is going to have to go home. I don't know there's much he can do. 8 lanes on the way. Spine crawler now going down as well. And the Killer's in a great position. Even if Swip decided to follow up this Hellions, it won't be a good answer because spine crawlers have gone down. Link's now chasing away those few Marines and STVs. Good surround from Killer. Gonna get a few of those Marines down to low health. Gets 1. Sees he getting a 2nd. Does get 2. But now the Marines have reinforced one another, and they are actually going to work. All those things now taken out. But that has bought time for that spine crawler to get up. And once that does get up, it will be a lot harder for Swip to kill. Right. To get a bunker down. And you can see he's packing his bag and say, "Boys, it's time to go home. Right. We've done our job."
This is starting to feel reminiscent of Game 1. You know, where Killer held it off in phenomenal style, this same play, and and then came back with a very strong timing attack with those banelings and speedlings, and man, I'll tell you, that was absolutely brutal. Do you expect to see something similar here moving forward, or do you think, I mean, obviously Swip can't really take a fast third on this map, so maybe can't get quite as greedy, but I don't know. I mean, what do you think Killer's going to do here?
I would be surprised if he played just super standard here, go for a 2-base macro hatch muta. I really love that play against Terran to be aggressive really in the early game, because guess what? They've invested so much in the early game, their static defense back at home will be pretty minimal compared to what it would have been. And this is of course pertaining to the fact that you hold off that aggression very well. And Killer, I think he could have held it off better, but he certainly did succeed in holding off. Now Swip coming back over a bunch of Marines. Killer did actually build another spine crawler, has that queen there, actually has more drones out. Overlord will go down from these 7 Marines out over here. Killer, does he react? He does now see it. He is supply blocked. He needs to be very, very careful. These Marines scurrying around the Mang statue. And Killer, good idea, getting that queen in the back, wants to block those Marines from getting to the drone. Spinecrawler is in range of that, so good placement from Killer.
Yeah,
he just needs to bide his time. He needs to be very, very patient. Whenever you're playing a Terran player who's trying to put any kind of contain on you, your best bet, be patient.
Right.
And there he goes, that Spinecrawler just out of range. Ooh, that's antagonizing. Now repositioning it.
Yeah, he's going to reposition. He's positioning these guys well. Looks like these Marines probably not going to make it in now that there's plenty of Lings out on the field. Except he did. There's just a couple of them there, and so he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to throw away the Lings. Always, always an important thing to try and hold on to those units, even though they are. A lot of people do consider them like throwaway units, but it's not really the case, especially early game. It's important to have them in mass or en masse, right?
Yes, and you know what? I really have to disagree with Killer's decision to not get speed. I feel like if a player gets aggressive on you like this, you should really try to crank out speed as soon as possible, because they know you're vulnerable, so you have to be able to chase down Marines. You have to claim map control, especially if they don't transition into Hellion play. A lot of times you'll see two barracks pressure transition into Hellion play, and Swip hasn't done that. He actually has thrown down a second factory on top of his first. I wonder if he's going to go next out, a third command center going down, and if he's just retains so much map control compared to that of Killer, and I think it's all because Killer has not gotten speed.
Yep, I agree, and he's still just barely starting speed right now as we were talking about it, but he still hasn't been able to move out, start to take out a third. His map control is just now coming back into play. He's put some Lings out in a forward position there. Holding those towers is always a good idea, but those Marines are still pesky in this forward position. They're going to be guarding the third. They want to see the timing of Killer's third. And I love this play from Swip. That's going to give him all of the information that he needs. Every single, the longer he goes without taking that third, the more Swip is going to be very, very comfortable in his position. Getting out his mech now, he does have Blue Flame Hellions going to be coming out on the field, and guess what is not good against Blue Flame Hellions?
Anything Zerg has besides roaches,
right?
And Mutalisks and Broodlords,
right?
Blue Flame Hellions are one of the best units in the game. They kind of fell out of favor at post-patch, but I mean, you can see him now and again. You can see what Swip is doing. He's kind of doing an interesting build. He's doing a lot of bio, but with Blue Flame Hellions behind it. And that's because his opponent knows he's going to stay on Lings. A lot of players these days don't feel like they want to go Roaches, but you can kind of see in the GSL, Roaches are kind of coming back into the TvZ metagame, especially in terms of being aggressive.
Oh, I agree, and I mean we do see Killer going for Roaches here, and I think that's a smart play. Yeah. He's going to try to toss
Killer.
Down.
He does take the third. Oh, he does get the cancel. Wow. Thank God. I was afraid he wasn't going to get that. Lings now finally do have speed. They will be able to take on the small pack of Marines once a few more Lings get over. They just need to get in good position. Pretty good surround from Killer, getting it from all angles. Probably not. He could do a little bit better, but you can see how much of a difference speed makes for taking out Marines. It allows you to get around them, maneuver around them so quickly. But here comes 6 Hellions plus a whole bunch of Marines. They will have stim in about another 100 seconds or so still plenty of time before that hits. But Blue Flame Hellions, man, if they get into that natural, and those spine crawlers aren't in great shape, does he see the Blue Flame Hellions? Does he have any idea at all? He has barely scouted Swip. He does know about the natural, but here come the Blue Flame Hellions into the third. They will not be able to do a lot of damage to this hatchery, but give it enough time just to sit there and roast it, they will take it down quite a bit and make it very vulnerable to these Marines that are coming over. And Killer does have Roaches out.
The Roaches got to get themselves in position, but he knows that he's not in the correct numbers yet. So he's got to be careful. He needs to get some reinforcements for these Roaches, and he's got to be careful. Can't engage with the Marines either. Oh, this is a bad situation for Killer. He doesn't need to save it, but he just doesn't quite have the forces. And Swip kiting here so well. Oh, he's going to lose a Hellions. Pretty good. He did lose 2 Hellions there. I'm actually pretty surprised that Killer held that off. Oh, I see why. He had some Roach reinforcements come in. He doubled his numbers there pretty quick, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did. I didn't even see him put down the Roach Horn. I like the decision for the Infestation Pit. Roach plus Infestors is a great way to play against mech. You never want to go Mutas. You actually want to go for Neural Parasite pretty early on. It's one of the few instances I think Neural Parasite is a very good spell to use, even post patch with that nerf to the range. Mainly because Thors and tanks, if you can get control of them, in any situation, maybe get the Terrans under there, because Terran usually doesn't get mobile detection. Yes, they will have scans, but mech is very, very slow, and it is very, very costly. So Terrans really don't want to throw down a lot of mules or scans. They want to save them for mules because they will need them. So you can see Infestors have a lot of versatility in the ZVT matchup when Terran goes mech. Now Roach is coming over to these Hellions, getting ready to claim map watchtower control, give Killer a little bit more map control as well, and Pathogen Glance is finishing up any Infestors. One Infestor on the way. Still pretty low on the drone count. He's only at 68. He could be a little bit higher.
Yeah, it could be a little higher. I think that part of it's because he's really endured a lot of pressure from Swip, so we've got to give it to Swip. He's really keeping this game under his control, even considering that he did lose that initial push. It was held off so very well by Killer, but Killer moving forward has really had some trouble, and here we now have Swip on solid 3-base play. Look at all the mules being called down at his third base. He's got just a nice line of tanks here. Great positioning here, and I mean these 3 bases are very, very well defended at this point. He's tossing down bunkers, going to be tossing down a 4th command center here right next to his natural, and quite honestly, Swip is in phenomenal shape right now and kind of controlling the game in many respects. Map control starting to go over into Killer's favor, but that's at this point Swip making his play into mech is he's got to cede some map control for just a little while.
He's actually retaining a lot of Marines, getting up to Starport, now getting medevac, so he's actually transitioned to this standard tank Marine play, which is actually pretty good against Roaches, considering the Roaches take a bonus damage from the tanks. And before this engagement happens, I had to compliment Killer. Look at his vision, man. He is always so good about Overlord spread. He is so drop-proof because of that.
Yeah.
And here comes the engagement into the third. Killer pushing up a little bit. I think he wants to try to take out the third, at least do a little bit of damage. Another expansion going down for Swip on top of this, showing it to Killer. And okay, Fungal on this Marine's going to hold them in position. Good Fungal on the SCVs, though, going to do a lot of damage there. And I think Killer is really doing what he needs to get back into this game. Does he have the +1 carapace? He actually has +2 carapace. And those siege tanks will not be able to take out those Zerglings so easily.
No, they won't. Look at those great Fungals going down on the Marines, but he is going to have to back out. He did lose too many of his Roaches there.
He needs to save those Infestors. He doesn't have any.
Save them.
He doesn't have Burrow.
Yep.
Ooh,
they do go down, so quite a loss there from Killer. Swip does take a supply lead. He is coming over to the other side, trying to head towards the third. But Killer, because, like you say, his map control coming into play there once again. He did see that little detachment of Marines headed over there towards his third and fourth. He's able to intercept them, take them out so very quickly. And I mean, it's little things like that that are helping keep Killer on target here. But he is a little bit behind. So I mean, if you had to give somebody a lead at this point, who would you say? Would you say Swip?
I'm going to give it to Killer just because of his map control. There's a drop now coming into the main that Killer spotted ages ago. He had it on lockdown. This drop is not going to do anything else but kill off a few lings and have to go home. And that's taking away from the attention of Swip. Now here comes a tank Marine push. There's no medevacs with this, though. Despite there being no banelings, Fungal Growth will do amazing damage. Oh, really bad position for Swip. Going to get fungled from the high ground from Killer. Tanks just getting Fungal out of position, not sieged up. Really, really good engagement there for Killer, despite losing most of his Infestors. But he cleaned up the Marines, which really deal the bulk of the damage. The Lings can get in there, considering the tanks. They do have +1, but still, the Lings have 2/2. Killer just staying in this with upgrades. Never underestimate the power of upgrades.
Well, he's caught up very quickly in the supply count after that engagement, and now is pumping out a lot of Lings, as well as, guess what, Ultralisks.
Ooh.
Wow. We're going to have a good old-fashioned time with these guys. And looking at your upgrades for these melee units, it's +2/+2. Those Ultras are going to be very, very beefy. I mean, you got to say that Swip has got good upgrades of his own. He's got +2/+2 on his infantry and +1 on his siege tank, so not bad there. He's looking pretty solid, but I don't know, man. I'm thinking Killer might fare pretty well in this next attack, considering he has mixed in a couple of those Ultras.
Yeah, the Ultras are a great addition to this composition, considering the fact that Marine count is getting desperately low compared to what it should be in the tank count. While it has been retained, Swip is not really doing a good job of scattering them out so they can Oh, excuse me. They can easily they can't be group fungled, and when they're not in siege mode, and this being unable to siege up and causing a lot of problems on later. And Killer having great vision, always knowing where Swip is coming from. So that's definitely giving him a lot of leeway in terms of negotiating the battlefield, getting the best possible engagement. Gonna wait until those tanks unsiege before he runs in there with his army. Doesn't want to sacrifice them to the siege line. And here goes a decent fungal. One Ultra doing a little bit of damage, getting a few kills for its trophy case.
Yeah. Yeah, picking off, but Killer is about to be maxed out. There is this one Viking going to be kind of pesky. There's not tons of AA here, but here comes the engagement. Look at the split here from Swip. Now, this could really help him out. The tank's all bunched up here in the back, but it's going to take these guys a little while just to get to him, and they're just now reaching that tank line, trying to beat through here. We've got Marines up on the high ground. Great positioning here from Swip, but Killer so forceful right now with these Ultralisks, and I'll tell you, all that tank damage is splashing onto those Marines and other tanks there. So it was a good engagement. Killer still slightly ahead in the supply count, but is going to have to lose this base. Now that's quite a loss here for them. He cannot afford to lose
that's the larva
bases.
he really needs at this point in time. He has no larva out on the battlefield, and Ultras take while they do have their time reduced since that patch a couple months ago, they still take quite some time to build. I have to say, Ultras are pretty good, man. I've never realized how good Ultras are when there's just Marines around, because 6 armor versus the 8 damage, they only take 2 damage per shot from a Marine.
Right.
And that's so little damage. Medevac's trying to help these Marines, but they will all go home. I think Killer doesn't have a Spire down yet. Unfortunately not, it looks like. I really wish he did. I think Mutas would be a great transition, considering the fact he's really whittling down the tank count.
Either that or even Broodlords, because these Marine armies cannot push forward against these Ultras. They just take up too much space, and they're too forceful. So, I mean, he can really keep Broodlord safe at this point. Actually, I agree. I think we should see some transition here. Notice that Swip did take his 4th base in the center. It is a planetary fortress. Killer going to have a little bit of trouble beating that one to death as he moves forward. But he's still ahead in the supply, if only, well, actually not for now, but they're fairly even in supply regardless. And, I mean, he's going to have a pretty scary army. +3, +5 now on the armor for those Ultras. He did get the chitinous plating out, which does bump their armor up to a total of 6. On the Ultras. Oh, it's brutal.
It's insane. It really is. I mean, Marines just do so little damage to them. It's the tanks that really take the meat off the Ultralists, and the Marines just kind of, shoot BB guns at them for a while, or paintballs, or
your tanks are at +2 on their
that's
damage
true.
right now, and +3 on your Marines. It's not bad. Obviously, they do have combat shield, and he's got a pretty scary army. Both of these guys are maxed out. I don't like this forward position of Killer. I think he might get caught off guard here, but he's going to push in as the tanks are sieging, so actually great positioning there.
Yeah, great fungals going down, hitting a bunch of Marines. Medevac's not really doing the best job of healing the ones in the back, so they will go down very quickly thanks to the Ultra splash damage. And these Ultras will be cleaning up the small faction of Marines as well as all those tanks. 2 siege tanks in the back, not sieged up. Really bad there for Swip. He should have had those sieged up, would have helped them out immensely in that fight. So you really have to be aware of your rallies, especially of units such as siege tanks. Ultra is falling back. Creep spread kind of falling apart for Killer, and that's really hurting him. Ultras are actually pretty slow when they're off creep. That creep bonus they get is pretty monumental. They jump up from 2.95 to
look at this drop coming into the 6th base.
Yeah, and there are some units on patrol here.
Yep, scouted there fairly quickly. He's got those. He's got units patrolling at his the backside of his bases, which is always so smart. Some of these guys coming down to the low ground are going to pick off the tanks on the low ground, and the Ultras on the high ground should be able to clean this up with not much trouble. We may even see Swip try and evac these guys, but wow. I'll tell you, Killer is really on target here. Even when he's taken pretty serious losses during these engagements, which he's got another one, little detachment moving forward, trying to take out some of those Marauders and Marines there. Smart idea, but wow, I mean, the supply counts are staying so even. This is such a crazy matchup right now.
I know, I can't believe it. Looking at the units lost, Zerg is about 4,000 units lost more than his opponent, but considering the lateness of the game, that's actually not that big of a deal, especially for a Zerg player.
Well, yeah, I mean, Swip is only on 4 base. His first 2 bases are mined out, so he's really only on 2 mining base, and his 3rd is actually getting fairly low.
Sick fungal going down, a whole bunch of Marines and Marauders. Another one going down on the tanks as well. Infested Terrans coming out. Ultra's going to do so much damage here. Once you soften up those units, the splash damage from the Ultras just causes so much more of a significant impact. Yeah. The one thing that Killer is not doing is not killing off the medevacs. He really needs to get out some anti-air units that transition into mutas or broodlords and have those corruptors to take out some medevacs, because it's going to force a transition out of Killer Swip into Vikings. and he doesn't really have the production for that. He only has one starport or two starports, with one of which doesn't have a reactor on it. So if Killer were to somehow just kind of turtle up, defend for a little bit, get out Baneling or Broodlords, it'd be really, really tough for Swip to deal with because he just doesn't have a transition prepared.
Well, here comes your next engagement. Drop up to the high ground once more at the 6th base here, but Killer in great position. Obviously, with his scouting coming into play once again, able to clean this up in pretty phenomenal style, but Swip's still holding on to a supply lead. Strangely enough, Killer's got to get that production. Maybe he's missing some inject cycles. I guess we got to check his queens. He doesn't have a queen at the 6th, no queen at the 5th. There's a queen at the 3rd. She is full energy, so it's coming down to inject cycles here for Killer. He's just not maxing as quickly as he needs to.
Well, he's actually hurting for money pretty bad. He has about 27 larvae sitting out. He has 76 drones, but he's really just he can't max out and start having a trust fund to depend upon, to remax and do those 300 food pushes. He keeps on trying to push back the army of Swip, who's now maxed out, actually, pushing with a pretty hefty Marine Marauder tank medevac ball, which is going to be really difficult to deal with given the composition of the Killer. I really think he just stayed on this unit composition. Good fungal going down, getting all the bio forces. Going to hold him in position for a little bit, allow the Ultralists to get in there. Is there any more fungals left? Yes, there are. So those medevacs are going to be well depleted of energy. Most of them have none left. And those bioforces from Swip are very much in the red and orange, all those beautiful autumn colors. Yeah. And it's going to force him to fall back. He can't sim up. He can't do the damage he needs to do.
Yeah. Killer does have a pretty scary force here, but he's got to be careful of this maxed out force from Swip. And Swip putting some of these units on the high ground, great positioning there. Knows that it's going to be difficult for Killer to engage both the low and the high ground here.
But he goes to the 5th. He's going to actually go ahead and snipe the hatchery. Smart decision here. Does Killer have enough units here to get here in time? No, it does not. Hatchery goes down. That's a huge pick at this point in time, considering the fact that Swip really only has 2 operational bases. The 3rd is getting close to mine out, so it's not even getting the maximum economy. But he does have 2... couple infestors here trying to take out those medevacs.
And he's got a detachment headed over here to the what is this? The 5th base. Yeah, the 5th base of Swip. He is going to try and toss down some infested Terrans here, it appears. But he's got to be careful, otherwise he's going to lose the infestors too fast.
Yeah, the infestors actually do make it alive. He takes out a couple SCVs, so pretty good pick there. Not the best considering the fact that Swip has 2 orbital commands sitting at his 3rd, as plus the one in his main and the one in his natural. So he has plenty of mules to go around. Really doesn't have to worry about losing SCVs. He just replace them with units. Killer approaching that max mark. He really, really needs to transition. Now just finally getting the burrow upgrade to kind of help his units regen and be a little bit more sneaky. And here goes
big engagement, though. We've got a lot of Ultralisks getting a good surround. All the tanks go down fairly quickly here, but your Marauder's still in
from
pretty
the back.
Yeah.
Sieging up. Killer needs to bail out now.
Yeah, and he does. He bails very quickly. I think a smart move there from Killer. He is trying to slow these guys down by tossing down just a couple of those infested Terran, but not enough to slow these guys. They do want to kill off these tech units as they retreat. It's so smart. And
there's a drop going on in the main as well.
Yeah,
he's going to go ahead and target to the spawning pool. Killer doesn't have another one going down yet and doesn't quite realize it. Will he go for the Ultra Scav? And yes, he will, but Ultra's coming back in the main. They will clean this up. However, he has got the spawning pool that will delay queen production as well as larva production, so good choice from Swip picking that off at this late stage in the game. I don't think enough Zergs realize. And, dropping right up the Ultralisk, but the Ultralisk are moving away. They're not Killer's not paying attention that this drop is going on. All those siege tanks on the low ground as well, defending this so well.
Such smart move. Swip in great position. He can just poke in with this infantry, and the tanks will defend from the backside there. And Killer just doesn't really have an answer to this. The 3rd base is going to have a lot of trouble here. You've got those spine crawlers going down, and looks like the 6th base does, or the 5th base here goes down as well. And I'll tell you, man, Swip has not only gained control of this game, but he has set himself up to just pull the trigger on this win, and Killer is on the run right now. What do you think? Yeah. I mean, he's obviously thinks that he has a small chance here. I mean, he's got to feel behind at this point, but he's trying to make it happen. Look at that. Scan going down does reveal the burrowed infestors. Unbelievable. And he's now dropping below 150 supply. He's down to 130 there for a moment.
Yeah, he really... Killer should have transitioned way long ago into Broodlords. He doesn't even have a Spire down, so it's not even like he could get out Mutalisk and start harassing. You can look at Swip bases. He really doesn't have missile turrets at all, so Mutalisk would have been a great tech switch. Even Broodlords, just to kind of take out that 3rd that's so easily... that center expansion where the gold bases usually are, just to take that down, and... Killer just stayed way too long in Ultra Infestor Ling tech. Way, way too long.
Yeah.
You have to
It was a
transition
good play.
sometime.
I mean, he really did a smart job there. But yeah, like you say, as soon as it doesn't work perfectly the first time when you spring it on your opponent, you've got to transition. And so he had trouble transitioning here, and now he finds himself running up a very maxed army, +3 on these tanks, +3 obviously on the Marines and Marauders, and still plenty of medevacs in this force. Scans going down.
And look at the fifth of uGpSwip. I just noticed 7 tech labs going down, and there's a whole bunch of barracks. Swip has a huge trust fund. Even if Kill were to somehow kill off this army, Swip's production facilities are just through the roof. I think it's like something like 25 barracks and a handful of factories. It's just like there's not much you can do as Killer. It really is because he just stayed on this tech too long. He didn't have a plan B to it. He didn't try to spare a little bit of resources, cut an Infester or even an Ultralisk more so to get out of Spire and then eventually a Greater Spire.
Yeah.
Here he goes,
Strike
Elba.
out on the live stream says, freaking good game, and indeed it is. There is the GG from Killer as he does try and push into that army, and looks like Swip just obliterated that force so very quick. What a nice game, man. Congratulations to Killer. However, he did place 3rd in the tournament. That does carry a $20 cash prize. But we are going to see Swip now take on VIP. It is going to be a TVP. Oh, man. Are you pumped for that, Wendy?
VIP versus Swip, a rematch, I believe, right? Yes.
It is. So VIP, all he has to do is pull the trigger in the first best of 5, and that will put him in first place. But we'll head into that game here in just a few moments. Don't tab, always on Starcraft. To see you guys then.